Hi, this is Brad. A few years ago, I was in the market for a couple of airplanes. Um, and of course, I was really curious what it would cost me per hour to run these things. And I whipped out my handy dandy Excel spreadsheet and tried to derive some numbers. And I thought that there must be a better way to identify information that goes up to make up these operating costs and to be able to display visually, graphically, in an easy to use format. We could say that Excel's pretty easy to use, a bunch of columns, a bunch of numbers, all good, but it doesn't do a great job of displaying it with any consistency. It's freeform, and some pilots, some buyers may not be too adept at using Excel or getting that information. And it's got a pretty high learning curve. And what I wanted to do was to create a web application that made it super simple to gather and change so we could forecast different variables and come up with a total cost per hour. So the landing page, it's really in a demonstrator mode. We call this quick cost, and it's in demonstrator mode. It's made up of a form on the left-hand side, which has your loan, your variable, fixed, subscription, service, supports, summary, uh, fixed information that you can just pop to derive a cost per hour. And then each of the tabs on the right allow you to view that information in summary format. So if you were buying an airplane and we paid $4 million dollars and you put $75,000 down and the interest rate was 5.5, term of loan was 10 years, well, you're going to get your information. There's my loan payment details, my principal, interest payment, and balance by year. There's your loan details. So total payments, 4,232,525. Total annual payment, monthly payment, loan amount, depreciation schedule. If you were a corporation and you were going to write down the cost of buying the business asset, the business aircraft, then this would be your depreciation schedule per year, the percentage that you are allowed to write down for every year. I'm kind of a graphical person. I like to see graphics. And so down here in the center bottom, you can see your principal, interest, payment, and balance curves from the initial cost of your balance down to the bottom. And it kind of runs over the numbers there. So if you hover over with your mouse. Total principal payment, 3.25 million, and there's your interest, 983,000 for taking that loan at 5.5%. All right, for us mere mortals who don't buy corporate airplanes, um, but enjoy the smaller airplanes, I've got a couple pre-popped here. These are the ones I actually bought. You go to select page, and normally they are keyed. You click on one of the tabs to the upper right, and the form page will change on its own. But I can change it to examples to shortcut it. Shortcut has my two airplanes that I bought, a 47 Cessna 140 and a 48 Navion 205. Let's pick that. I'm going to load it because I didn't take out a loan. I paid cash. Um, there's nothing in there for if I go back to loan, I'll show you. $0 purchase price, no down payment, term of loan 0. Um, I take away all the screens if that's the case. My variable costs. Here's my variable costs. On the form on the left-hand side, fuel is at $6.50 per gallon. The fuel consumed per hour on that little 200 horsepower motor is Actually, lean it out, it's about 11 gallons, but which probably a better number, maybe 12 would be average, but I put 13. Okay, fine. Flight hours per year. Um, well, this is kind of a nice number to hit. I did almost hit this in the little 140, but it'd be nice to hit it in the Navy on 100 hours. I got 25 hours in last year. There's no charter hours. I'm not selling time on it, no charter rate. That'd be for the bigger birds. But I am adding $10 for an airframe reserve, $10 for an engine reserve, $10 for a propeller reserve, and $10 for an avionics reserve for a total variable cost per flight hour, $128. Now, let's say you live in a place where gas is, and I don't live where it's cheap, $5.90 per gallon. And let's say you and your airplane really, well, 12 is a closer number for what you do than what I've got. Well, then you go hit the set button here, and the total cost per hour for variable costs is 114 an hour. So we saw it get reduced. Over here to the right, here's my visuals that I like. Fuel cost, which makes up the greatest part of the variable costs. And then in descending order, where we're at. Engine oil. Um, Over here on the form data, I've got just pre-popped um, costs. In the center box here for variable costs, I can add whatever costs I want to. And the one thing I want to add is engine oil. So I've got a pretty nominal burn. I figure it burns about $3 of engine oil per hour. That's my guesstimate. So that all adds up to the cost to get my total variable cost per hour. Fixed costs. When I hit the tab up here, the form data will automatically change. I can override that by selecting the page. But for now, it's synced up really well. Two costs I have down here, liability insurance and hangar rent. Those go into the costs. I've also added that I think that it's going to cost about, should average out, maybe about $3,000 a year for the annual. It's an old airplane, 48, needs some TLC. So that'll go in there and get added to all of these fixed form items for a grand total cost of $7,500 per year for fixed costs. There's my annual, there's my hangar lease, there's my liability insurance. Subscription, the only item I have really is flight planning, for flight, and GPS updates, which are, I think they're about 100, probably a little more than that. I'd have to go look up the cost on there. I didn't have any other fixed cost subscription costs, so total annual fixed cost subscription is $365 a year. Really easy. Flight planning making the biggest number above that. Services, I don't have any services. Those would be more aligned to corporate type of aircraft. No catering, no crew, concierge, landing fees, ground handling, nada. There's my summary. So if I go back, well, let's look here on the left. Country, I can select any country. I can select most airports in the world. These are pulled from a backend database. The aircraft, I'll start loading smaller aircraft in there. They're a wide selection of airplanes. And I got this and I pull this from my other sites that I use for range. And I'll show you that here in a second. Year, it's 48, tail number 109 Delta Sierra. There's the serial number. All the currency that I use in here. This is all based on dollars. And my fuel unit is gallons. So if I go back here to summary, then my flight hours are 100, charter revenue, nothing, no management fees, no payments, so I don't have a loan. Variable costs are 11,380. Fixed costs are 7,500. Fixed subscription costs 365 for a total expense of 19,245, which gives me total flight cost per hour of 192 based on 100 flight hours and the price of fuel at $5.90 a gallon and burning 12 gallons an hour with $40 in reserves. Now, you can tweak it, you can save it, you can load it. If you've got a computer, and I know it works on Apple, I probably should check it on Windows. I'm not an avid Windows fan, but should work just fine. Then you can save it to a local file by hitting save. To ask for a file name, save it. And then you can load that file and you can pull it back in. So you can save that information. I elected not to have it right to a server on the back end, reduces my costs as well as complexity of the program. Okay, the demonstrator programs are here. Examples, Navion, there's my Cessna. I can load that too. And there are my Cessna costs based on 100 hours. I did fly it, almost 100 hours last year. It doesn't burn much fuel. 6 gallons or 5.9 is a stretch. That thing burns maybe 5. If I just do 5, let's do 5. There we go. Total variable cost per flight hour, 53. Engine oil, I calculated it too. Fixed costs, yep, I got a hangar. Liability insurance. I don't have hull insurance at the moment. I probably should. I had it in there. I took it out and I just used my liability insurance. Costs go way down. Summary, $105 an hour to go operate that fun little airplane, which is a blast, which I got for sale at the moment on Trade Plane. You get the idea. It's pretty simple to work, easy to save, and in a simple format. When I posted my airplane for sale, I posted a screenshot of the cost per hour. And I'll put this link up there. And if someone's interested in using it, great. But it's a good way, I believe, to show what your costs are for any prospective buyer. And it's really easy to use if you're interested in buying an airplane, provided you can get some of that information from the current owner. All right, last but not least, the airport data, aircraft data is loaded into a tool which is available on Romasoft for fun. I write these tools for fun. Here's my Ryan Navion, and I got one in. You just click over on the left. There's my Cessna 140. This is the range I've got. Red is Cessna 140. If I want to go in, I can see how far I could fly this thing. And it is keyed to, if you go over here to the aircraft, whichever one you select. Right, so there's your Cessna 172 right there, which doesn't have a great range, P model. And I can go click over there and it'll go pull up my 140, not my 140, but 140s. And there's my Ryan Navion. So pretty cool range. Good tools when you're buying to see what your mission profile might be and the range that it could go. Very visual person myself. I like to see those things in person. And I don't want to pay somebody to go show me that information. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, like it. I write tools for fun. If you enjoy it, let me know. Thanks.